I feel like this club and watching this club, to be honest, it just makes me feel sad. It's just one of those days where nothing's gone right for me today, and then I just see that performance, and I'm just like, oh, what is that? And I say, what is that? I mean, we've been playing a little bit like this recently. We've been playing nearly as bad as that recently, but we've sort of been getting goals to sort of get us out of jail. It's not too different to having been playing recently, but today we didn't get the goals to get us out of jail. There was a point when Maguire scored 1-1, and I was thinking, are we going to cover over the cracks again with a last-minute win? But no, today was awful. Fulham won, and Fulham deserved to win. I think Garnacho was good. I thought Ahmed's cameo was good, and he should have come on earlier. But I think for the most part, it was absolutely dreadful performance. And you've got to ask some questions of Ten Hag. You've got to ask questions of the players. You've got to ask questions of everyone today. You know, I'm Ten Hag in, but he's continuing to make the same mistakes tactically time and time again, and it's just frustrating because I like Ten Hag, and I know that he's obviously not playing the way he wants to play because he hasn't got the players in, and I know there's a good manager in Ten Hag, but when he's continuing making the same mistakes, which mean every time we lose the ball, we're so vulnerable in the transition. The way we set up out of position is so bad that it's so easy for teams to dominate and swarm against us. Is worrying. It's worrying that almost every team we play plays better football than us, there's a pattern of football there, and it's like, okay, well, Hoyland, Martinez, and Shaw is injured, and there's just a massive drop-off of not having those three players there. As we've seen, we keep having to go long, we can't control the ball, we can't sustain possession, but other teams managed to adapt. You look at what Klopp's done. You know, Conor Bradley's had to come in, they lost Nunes, they lost Jota, they lost Salah, they lost Kanate, they lost Matip, they lost Trent, they lost Alisson, and they're still top of the league. Yes, they've got much better squad depth than us, and it's a much more stable environment, but you do have to say, look at the situation we're in. We aren't getting results, and you look at the lineup and you look at the team and say, is this Ten Hag's fault? How can you expect him to play this style of football with these players? How can you expect him to do this and that with these players? And I get that these players need to go in, else need to clear out these players. But at the same time, I think we need to be doing better than that. There needs to be some sort of discipline laid out, because I think, I don't know what I think, to be honest. I'm Ten Hag in, but no matter who's missing, we should be beating Fulham at home. That's Fulham's first or second win away from home this season. They've got a really bad away from home record, and they deserve to win. They dominated us, and the performance was poor, and the performances have been poor for a while, but goals have been covering over the cracks. It's probably what I would say. And I think Casemiro was particularly poor again today. Bruno didn't have his best game, and I felt that Maino was probably the best midfielder. I thought Garnacho was the only real threat, but there was just a massive lack of creativity. I mean, you actually think how amazing it is that Hoyland's got 15 goal contributions this season or something when you look at the lack of creativity in attack. And the problem with United is we can't basically build up, and that's partly because Shaw and Martinez are missing, but we can't control the ball, we can't build up, we can't take control of possession and create chances. We're constantly having to go long, and because we're constantly going long, possession is given away, it's turnover by Fulham, and Fulham attack us quick. And I think a lot of our problems, again, highlighted today, without those key players, you were just getting the ball and then we're just going long and we're losing the ball, and then Fulham were attacking us. And it was the same painful football when nothing was happening, but it's the same football we've been playing for a while, but this time we didn't score and Fulham did score. And we've got the Etihad coming up soon, and we're not going to have those players, and that does worry me. And I am worried just watching this football, and I don't know how much sense I'm making, because I'm just really not in the mood today, and I've really just... It wasn't a good game. I don't get the subs from Ten Hag. I mean, Ericsson, honestly, that was one of the worst cameos I've seen. Ahmed came on, but about 10-15 minutes too late. I mean, I'm glad he brought Ahmed on over Anthony. That's one thing. I mean, McTominay, I don't know. I was just struggling to just really think about the game and what we're doing, and it's just not working. And I think there are elements of the team isn't good enough. The elements of the team isn't good enough. Ten Hag needs the players. There's elements of Ten Hag's tactics need to change here. This isn't how Ten Hag played at Ajax, and he's playing this way because he thinks he's going to get the best out of United players, but it's not working. But the biggest issue for me is how leggy we look, how unfit we look compared to other teams in the league. And I think one reason of that might be the style of football we're playing, because we're constantly having to go direct transition, but then we're constantly being transitioned against us because we're so open and behind, and the players are constantly having to sprint, and maybe that's why we're getting so many muscle injuries. Maybe that's why we're so leggy. Maybe that's why. And I like transition direct football, but when that's all we're trying to do throughout the game, always going long, always trying to be too direct, it's not working. And I think there was just times in that game where I just felt like we couldn't pass the ball, we couldn't move the ball, the basics of football, the basic skills, it feels like we don't have. And I looked at the squad and I thought, to be honest, Lindelof go, Maguire go. I thought, Casemiro go, Eriksen go. I was looking at this and I was thinking, yeah, half these players need to go. I mean, Lindelof left back. I knew when they brought Adama Traore on, that guy was going to be absolutely screwed. I think the positive was Garnacho. I thought he had a good performance. I thought Mina was okay. Delay was decent for the most part, but he dropped off towards the end. Anana was decent, but it's just crazy how bad we are without Martinez, Shaw, and Højlund. It's just massive, the drop off. And I know we weren't great last game, but that game we did have a Martinez, Shaw, and Højlund fit were a lot better. It's just the drop off is massive, and the reason I'm so sad is because, to be honest, I shouldn't be as sad or I shouldn't be as shocked as now because we've been playing like this the last few days. But it's just the lack of progress, I think, in the football we're playing, which is worrying. Like, I want Tenal to turn it around. I want Tenal to be successful, and hopefully he is. But his tactics need to be adapted by Ten Hag. A lot of it is he just doesn't have the players to play the way he wants, but his tactics were so open, the structure out of position. This has been a problem all season, and it's not changing. And we're so leggy, and we're trying to be direct every time and go long and chase long balls for 90 minutes straight, and it's not working. I like that he's intent. I like that he wants to be direct in possession, but at Ajax, he wasn't as direct as this. They were much more attacking into space, and maybe don't have the players to do that. But yeah, I just think today you just showed the issues with the press, the issues with our out of possession stuff, which is partly on Ten Hag, the issues with player quality. I think it showed a lot of things today that I'll do a deep dive into later. But I do want to say one thing, and that is like the Bulls United fans celebrating that Fulham had scored because they're Ten Hag out, and I don't get that. I don't get why you'd celebrate Fulham scoring, why you'd be angry that Maguire scored, why people want us to lose to Ten Hag sacked. I personally don't get that. I think we should be sitting here hoping that Ten Hag turns it around and gets the best out of the squad and gets the best out of these players. I think ultimately there's so many problems at this club. There's so many players that need to go. That should be the focus for me. Ineos needs to get rid of a lot of these players, and then if Ineos can make the decision on Ten Hag, and I will back whatever decision Ineos make. I'd like Ten Hag to stay and be given time, but if this continues and these same mistakes are made, and Ineos decides to sack Ten Hag, then I'm just going to stick with what Ineos' long-term vision is. Because if Nagelsmann's available and wants a United job, I'm not totally against that. But I also think, in fairness to Ten Hag, he doesn't have the players to play the way he wants. Ten Hag doesn't have the players to play the way he wants, and we need to change everything around Ten Hag, get them the players, get them the structure, and I think Ten Hag can succeed. But at the same time, I think Ten Hag's stubbornness and continuing the same thing that isn't working isn't helping him as well. And it just was frustrating watching us because those simple passes just to control a game, we couldn't do. And yes, injuries doesn't help at all, but it's just the basics. It's like the lack of footballing ability. It's just bad, and I just feel so disconnected. I feel so disconnected from Manchester United. I've been trying so hard to be positive, to be as positive with Ineos coming in and everything about the project. I try my hardest to be super positive about Manchester United and look for the brights, and I'll defend Rashford and I'll defend Bruno, who get the brunt of the stick. People saying take Rashford and Bruno off, but I was thinking it's not just Rashford and Bruno that's been rubbish. Everyone's been rubbish today, but I just think sometimes I watch United and I'm watching this over and over again, and I think, you know what, Ineos are going to come in the summer. Ineos are going to do a rebuild, get players in, get players out, and it should be good. And that's what I hope happens. But it is so frustrating when you look at how bad we are out of possession, how poor we are in possession at keeping the ball. There's only 3 or 4 players there that I'm like, I'd keep. And it's just, yeah. And I want Ten Hag to do well, and I want Ten Hag to win because I want Ten Hag to keep his job. But if we continue to play like this, then Ineos will probably sack Ten Hag. And that's Fulham's first win at Old Trafford in 21 years. The performance was dreadful. There was no plan. There was no control. There was no threat whatsoever as well. And Man United, I think, have conceded the second most shots this season. I think Man United conceded the most shots from set pieces, and our structure and the way we set out possession needs to be fixed as well. I want Ten Hag to succeed. I want him to do well, but he's got to fix a few things. I think his subs, Casemiro for Eriksen, I think just made us even worse, to be honest. And it's just frustrating because I look at us and I think, yeah, we need a good 5-6 players. Ten Hag needs to get his substitutions better. We need to sort ourselves out of possession better. There's a lot to do, but to be honest, it's the same as the Luton game. We just got the win. It's not much different from the Villa game. We just got the win. We just scored the goals. I think that's what it is. And I felt like there was a few moments in that game where we played football. For the most part, we didn't play football as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, the biggest problem is we've got to get a lot of those players out. And I want Ten Hag to stay and succeed. And I want a lot of players taken out in the summer and Ineos to replace them properly with players that would do well under Ten Hag. And and will be 10-0 players. But we do need to see some tactical adjustments from 10-0 because what he's trying right now it isn't working. We've conceded the second most shots in the league for a reason, and he needs to make some changes. So, yeah, I think I'm just a bit sad because it's the same mistakes, to be honest. Thank you for watching. Bye.